Kasama po natin ngayon si Doc Adam. Nagkukwentuhan kami about sa fentanyl. How do you pronounce it, Doc?
Fentanyl.
So we want to know why is someone who had a motorcycle accident being treated with pain cancer numbing drugs.
So he used it before, but he's not using it at the moment. There's no
Yes.
evidence he's using it at the
There is no
moment.
evidence. They said that.
But he's admitted to using it in the past.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a painkiller.
Yes.
It's an opiate. So it's like a morphine. So there's other morphines, so things like tramadol, endone, even heroin. Heroin's a morphine as well. Like the illegal morphine is heroin. So yeah, it's a morphine. It's a painkiller. But yeah, it's very addictive. Much more addictive than other morphines.
Okay.
Because it's stronger, and also because of the way it's delivered.
Yes.
Because it's quite quick acting. So when something's quick acting, it basically gives its effects really quick, but then the effects wear off really quick, and that can make it even more addictive.
Okay.
So a lot of people become dependent on fentanyl. So there's two main ways that people use fentanyl. There's a patch. So there's a fentanyl patch, which you basically would put on every 3 days, and it slowly releases fentanyl into your system. Or there's these like fentanyl lollipops, which are for quick acting pain, and they're really, really addictive. The patches aren't as addictive, but the fentanyl lollipops, because they act so quick, they're really, really addictive. People become addicted really fast.
Okay, so Duterte'S has this fentanyl patches.
Okay.
There was rumors back in the pandemic days that he was using fentanyl.
Yeah. Okay.
Have you
Which
heard
is
of
kind
that?
of ironic, but
Why is it ironic? Can you tell me?
well, I mean, fentanyl it's a prescribed drug, but it's a drug of addiction. It's a controlled drug, which many people become dependent on, and to be have an anti-drug policy within the country, but then to be using a controlled drug of addiction is kind of hypocritical, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, I get what you mean. But what are the side effects of using fentanyl? Because there's an epidemic in America right now, right? Of fentanyl addiction.
Of opiates. Yeah. Well, what happened in America is there was all the Purdue Pharma thing. So the morphine was marketed 10 or 20 years ago as like as not as addictive painkiller. So the Purdue Pharma marketed this I think it was OxyContin as a morphine, but they said it wasn't as addictive, and they hid a lot of data and evidence about it, and all these people ended up addicted to OxyContin. And then because everyone was addicted, all the doctors sort of panicked and stopped prescribing it because of all these deaths associated with it, and lots of people ended up on heroin as a result because they couldn't access the OxyContin. Now a lot of the heroin and the street drugs are laced with fentanyl because it's so strong. It's easy to lace drugs with fentanyl because it's so strong. It can be transported easily, and when you're using illegal drugs or when you're selling illegal drugs on the street, you're better off having strong drugs because it doesn't take up as much volume, so you can traffic easier. So the stronger the better with trafficking drugs. So fentanyl is quite an easy drug to traffic because it's so strong.
Oh, so what are the common side effects of fentanyl when you're go?
Well, sedation, slurred speech, drowsiness, and then if it's used in high levels, it can cause like respiratory depression. So people would stop breathing essentially, and then that's why when people use too much of it, that's why they die, right? Because it basically switches off your breathing, your breathing. So people die from overdose of fentanyl because they stop breathing. That's why people die from fentanyl overdose. Fentanyl patient I saw who was abusing fentanyl, because quite often you'll get people coming in trying to get fentanyl because it's so addictive.
Okay.
So they'll try and so they'll tell lies to try and get fentanyl, right?
Yes.
Anyway, apparently what they do in prison is they can melt the patches. So the fentanyl patches, you can melt them down, and then you can inject the fentanyl from them. So you can take the fentanyl out the patch and then inject it like heroin. So a lot of people are doing that. It's very dangerous to do that. Like I think a lot of people or dying as a result
So they're
of doing that.
melting this shit and then just
Yeah, they'll
injecting it.
melt the fentanyl down and then inject it or mix it in with other stuff.
But the patches is already like slow releasing. That's
Yeah,
just
but
how
they want
strong it
quick release,
is.
right? They want a high, so they
Oh
want the
my
quick
god.
release. Yeah.
So how does it work, doc? If you're addicted to this kind of stuff, does your tolerance increase in time?
Yeah, yeah. You need more and more. So the problem with drug addiction isn't so much the drug as what the addiction does, right? So when addiction becomes problematic is when it starts to interfere with your life and have negative effects on your life. But a lot of people are dependent on morphine and it doesn't affect their life. They just carry on living, right? There's a lot of heroin users in America who just use heroin, once or twice a week and don't come to any problems. They use it safely. Um, and they don't overdose. They know how to use it. They know their supplier. So actually being dependent on a drug in itself isn't that problematic. The problem comes when the dependence leads to other problems. So, for example, if you're injecting a drug, then you're exposing yourself to infections from the injections like HIV, hepatitis. If the risks of the drug are removed, and it can be used in a safe environment, then the actual drugs themselves are not that problematic. So, I mean, you could argue alcohol and smoking are more problematic than heroin
Oh yeah,
because they cause more health problems than heroin.
of
It just
course.
so happens that heroin is dangerous because heroin is dangerous because people won't necessarily know how much they're using and they can then overdose on it.
I mean,
Or
you
because they
can.
can, or they can get hepatitis or HIV from the injections. So that's the concern. Is so if you look at countries, I mean, the Philippines has made a very, their drug policy is,
Shit.
yeah, I mean, the war on drugs just doesn't work, right? I
Oh
mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's been
The,
shown in America that the war on drugs doesn't work. It doesn't effectively control the drug problem. And
of course.
if you look at countries like Portugal where they've legalized drugs, their drug use has gone down. And their harmful effects from drug use have gone down.
Yeah.
The deaths from drugs have gone down. So taking a stringent hardline approach on drugs isn't has been proven not to work. The more you criminalize drugs, the higher you drive the prices, and the more crime that happens to try and
You're just gonna get intelligent criminals if
yeah,
you.
like there's people. There's always going to be people who use drugs. You can't get rid of drugs have existed for thousands of years. You can't get rid of illicit drug use by
Yes.
criminalizing it.
Well, I agree with that.
But,
This is why I have a strong anti. Uh, I don't think the Dragon War really work. War on drugs really work because
doesn't
there are
work at all,
still.
man. Doesn't work at all.
Yes.
Like, I mean, has anyone's quality of life improved because of that war on drugs?
Well, a lot of
Are you
people
sat there?
died.
Are you sat there in a nicer flat, an apartment right now because of the war on drugs? Nah, your
Of
life's
course.
exactly the same, man. If not worse. Like the war on drugs doesn't help anyone.
No, no one did.
It's not an
Yes.
effective strategy. Like you're better off not legalizing all drugs, but having a more liberal approach to drug use.
Well,
It's a better solution to the problem.
if I'm looking at Marcos's political leaning, he's more of a woke president. You get what I'm saying? He's a little bit liberal
He
with
is more
this.
liberal. I mean, he's not putting condoms in his mouth.
No, no, of course not. But
Like, what else did Duterte do? Like, where he was like that thing I was reading about that the other day, like where he was like in the middle of the HIV epidemic. There was this talk about condom use, and he was like, "Don't wear a condom," and then he started chewing it because it was like chewing plastic or something like that. Crazy,
oh my god, dude.
crazy. I can't remember the exact words, but it was something along those lines. But anyway, yeah, I mean, Marcos seems to have a little bit more. He is a bit more
Lenient
liberal
of
and
yeah, yeah.
a bit more.
Hopefully one of the drugs that they at least decriminalize is weed. I mean, what's your take on that, Doc?
Yeah, I mean, criminalizing that's crazy. I
Is
mean,
it? Do you have dispensary in there of weed?
nah, you have to get a prescribe. You have to get a prescription for its
But
use.
can you smoke weed
Yeah,
there
but still, I
legally?
think illegal. I think it's still illegal. It's still
Oh,
illegal to smoke weed here.
Okay, so
Uh,
I cannot ask for a prescription from you. All right,
no, you
we're
can get a
going to
prescription.
Washington
You can get
then.
a prescription for cannabis to treat
To
medical cannabis. Medical cannabis is legal,
mm-hmm.
but smoking cannabis for recreational use is not yet legal.
Yeah. So it's
I
it's
don't
it's
think.
just in Canada and Washington then. I know
And
where.
and Amsterdam.
In Amsterdam, of course.
Man, last time I was in Amsterdam, my dad ate like 3 cookies. He was like, he was in there like, yeah, Amsterdam, it's all legal. But yeah, I mean, criminalizing cannabis is kind of crazy, right?
Yes, of
Why?
course.
Why you don't want to fill your courts with cannabis users? Like, why are you doing that? What are you doing? What? That's not the job. Why are you spending money in court?
Yo,
Why is the government spending money
bro,
criminalizing that
I
problem?
have a friend, a famous friend who got busted for weed, man. A lot of people are hating on you because, according to them, you don't know nothing about politics and drug use. Of course, don't you know that Doc Adam actually treats people
My
with
job.
addiction, you fools?
I am medically trained to manage drug dependence. Moron in the comments, whoever you are. Like, come on. But all the data and all the evidence shows that criminalizing drug use leads to worse outcomes. Just read it, man.
This is why I'm having a hardline no Duterte administration because they have shit policy when it comes to drugs. They just fucking kill people, man.
It has been proven throughout the centuries that criminalizing a hardline approaches on drugs don't work. Look at the 1990s in the USA. Look at the
Opium War.
What's it called? The prohibition of alcohol in the USA. It doesn't work. So whoever's saying it does, do some reading, man. I'm happy for anybody to come onto Nico's channel and debate me on the criminalization of drugs.
This is
like, because
do you want that?
Yeah, I'm happy to anyone to come on, and we'll define what you actually think is good about running around and shooting people who are in who have you're shooting people who have medical problems. People use drugs for a reason. Like, criminalizing them is not the right thing to do.
This is such a This is the most passionate I've heard
come on.
you, bro. This is the most passionate I've heard you. We can set that up if you like.
I'm not having an argument about politics because I'm not even talking about politics. I'm talking about criminalization of drugs. Like, I don't care about politics. I don't even read about Filipino politics.
Sure.
I'm just talking about the drug policy, and it's not served. And it's not. I haven't seen any positive effects from it.
We can set that up for you, bro. Doc.
Yeah, bring anyone on.
I'd love to host that. Yes.
So if somebody wants to come on and debate me about it, come on.
I'm gonna set it up first, and probably we'll get someone like Banat by about the drug war on drugs. Would you like to debate him?
Is that the guy with all those with the 4 girls he goes around with?
Yes.
Yeah, whatever, man. Like, I'll debate him.